Students, today we will continue with the chapter the biotechnology principles and processes, right? So we in this chapter we have already covered the introduction, the restriction enzyme, the details, the naming, the working of it, and in my last video we have already gone through the cloning vectors, in which we have gone through the features, various features on and the functions of the cloning vectors. We have already also gone through the cloning genes in plants, which was the TI plasmid found in the Agarobacterium tumefaciens. Okay, so we will continue with this topic, that vectors for the cloning genes in plants and animals. Today we will start with that how in a culture the recombinants are being differentiated from the non-recombinants. The first process is the inactivation of the antibiotics. Now, if a foreign DNA gets joined at a particular cloning vector site, suppose we are taking BAMH1 and it is joined, a foreign DNA is being joined at a tetracycline resistant gene. In my last video we have told that the foreign DNA is always ligated at an antibiotic resistant site, right? So, if a foreign DNA gets joined at an antibiotic resistant site, then the antibiotic resistant property of that particular vector is actually lost. That means if we grow that particular bacteria or the host in that particular antibiotic, the bacteria is going to die. Suppose if we join a foreign DNA at the BAMH1 site of the tetracycline resistant gene in the vector PBR322, the recombinant plasmid will always lose the tetracycline resistance property due to the insertion of this foreign DNA. And when this this gene or this plasmid or this host is grown in tetracycline culture or medium, it is going to die because it has already lost the property of tetracycline resistance, right? So it can still be selected out from the non-recombinant ones by plating the transformants on the ampicillin containing medium. Now the transformants will grow in ampicillin containing medium because the ampicillin resistant site is still activated, and then if they are transferred to the tetracycline medium, the recombinants will not grow in that particular media, while the non-recombinants can actually grow on that medium containing both the antibiotics, and thus this is how actually recombinants are selected. The second step is the insertional inactivation. Insertional inactivation is also a good process of selecting the transformants from the non-transformants. This is done on the basis of color production in the presence of chromogenic substrate, and the recombinants and the non-recombinants can be easily differentiated. This is a better way of selecting, differentiating the recombinants and non-recombinants. Okay, now what is done in this process? Here a recombinant DNA is inserted within the coding sequence of an enzyme, that is beta galactosidase. Where we found the beta galactosidase? We have found this beta galactosidase in the lac operon. So beta galactosidase, when a foreign DNA is inserted in this enzyme, the enzyme gets deactivated and or inactivated. Now the bacterial colonies having inserted into the plasmid show no coloration, while those without the inserted plasmid form blue color. Usually beta galactosidase, when is activated, shows blue color, while when inactivated, it produces no color. This process is also known as blue-white selection. So, this is how we can differentiate between the recombinants and the non-recombinants. Now, competent host, that is for transformation with the recombinant DNA, we will go through this. Now, we know that DNA is a hydrophilic molecule and cannot pass through all the cell membranes. DNA is partially hydrophilic, partially hydrophobic. If you recall the structure of the DNA, the heads were completely hydrophilic, but the tails, the lipid tails, were hydrophobic in nature. So, water cannot pass through them easily. Therefore, bacteria should be made competent to accept the DNA molecules. Now, what is competency? It is the ability of a cell, how easily a cell is taking up a foreign DNA. Okay, now how the cell can be made competent? This can be done artificially as well by chemical methods and physical methods. First, we will go through the chemical methods. In the chemical method, the cell is treated with some specific concentration of a divalent cation like calcium, which increases the porosity of the cell wall, and this makes feasible for the foreign DNA to get inserted. Okay, now the cells can also be incubated with the recombinant DNA on ice, which is followed by placing them briefly at 42 degrees Celsius and then putting it back on the ice, and this is known as a heat shock treatment. Okay, next what we do, that the bacteria is, since the cell is heat shocked, the bacteria can easily take up the foreign DNA or the DNA which needs to be inserted. We will come through the physical methods of insertion. The physical methods includes, the first one is micro-injection method, where the recombinant DNA is directly injected into the nucleus of an animal cell, and the second one is the biolistics or the gene gun method, where the cells are bombarded with high velocity microparticles of gold or tungsten coated with DNA in plants. The other method is the disarmed pathogen vectors are also used to transfer the recombinant DNA. Okay, now we come to the process of recombinant DNA technology. The recombinant DNA technology involves basic steps. The first one is the isolation of DNA. We need to isolate the DNA. The second is the fragmentation of DNA by restriction endonucleases. The third is the isolation of a desired DNA fragment. Fourth is the amplification of the gene interest. The fifth is the ligation of the DNA fragment into a vector. Then inserting the recombinant DNA into the host. Next is culturing the host cell on a suitable medium at a large scale. Next, we need to extract the desired gene product, and lastly, the downstream processing of the products as finished products, which is actually ready for marketing. Okay, so today up to this, we will continue with the chapter in my next video. Thank you.